This is a huge issue, and it's consistent with our policy in the Rural Independent Group of, trying to. We're not blindly saying there's no climate change issue, but we are saying that this carbon tax, and it's a denial of democracy. Because I'm here 13 years, and I've been involved in 13 finance bills, and I might be a slow learner, but this is a leap of faith that we won't have the chance to discuss this again until 2020. We already have the 2040 plan, which is destroying rural Ireland, with herding the people into the cities. And in a way, I won't say what I'm going to say about COVID, but COVID has taught us that the rural people will be sustained. The last recession, and I remember 3, the rural people and the farmers kept the country going. So this is hugely impacting on less well-off people and families, this carbon tax. And we all know that carbon tax in a number of billion of euro has been paid or collected already from hard-pressed, motorists and hard-pressed, householders, and not a shilling is not been spent evenly. And just transition, and Deputy Nolan will speak about that. She knows more about it in a hurry than I do. There's no just response and just payback for people, and it's not about payback, but they're not getting the physical infrastructure. Thankfully, we've got a blue way in Tipperary. We've got a fabulous greenway in Dungarvan out the road from me. But the facilities are put in by councils, and councils have to go to huge debt to get these. And I salute the county managers and the engineers that drove them, and the visionaries, and the voluntary groups. And Trina Mahoney in Minster Vales, and indeed Marie Phelan in Tipperary County Council, and the people that drive those with the communities like Knockmill Down Active. The communities in rural are trying their best to have a good carbon-free, environment, but also to have amenities for us to get out like shul, a Roher, a Grinka, for that's banished. And you know what I mean? We talk about it on the other hand, but the funds are being extracted from people. And I didn't mention the farmers yet, and the agri-contractors, and the hauliers, but it's not being managed properly. I mean, the Ryan promises, and we had debates here with budgets for COVID here at the start of the COVID, and he promises that it would, but it's not. In a place like West Cork didn't get a penny for any greenway. I mean, some counties you prefer, like I think Deputy Collins called it Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic Park, it's a beautiful part of the country, but a lot of the ministers in the Taoiseach go down to holiday there, but they forget about it then. They want it as kind of a playground that they can go back to a kind of a docile place. And when we had the motion about the greyhounds, kill this industry. 40,000 jobs between that and the horse racing. And what are we going to have? Utopian state where we'll be all, as I said, smoking marijuana and listening to rock music or whatever. Whale watching or something else. But I'm talking about the everyday person that's going to work, trying to pay his mortgage and trying to look after his family and educate them. And discrimination against rural people, whether it be transport, whether it be the education, whether it be broadband, that they can't, at Vitrol now and trying to learn from home, they can't. Picture the family in the house with the one lion and 3 or 4 children, and the husband trying to work as well in the house, and mother as well. And and they're all fighting over the one bit of poor broadband, or going into the community and the village to do it. So this proposal is dastardly about this carbon tax, but to have it in now in such a way that we won't have a right. This is Oireachtas. So, and I hope we won't be here next year. We'll be on the door, but we can be where we like. We can't discuss it. I've never seen anything like this. That the carbon tax is going to be passed in this finance bill, and we won't have a chance to evaluate it again next year, or the year after, or the year after, Bleanic Foss, until 2030. That couldn't be right or fair. It's my duty as a rural deputy to represent the people that I do, to say this is wrong. This is denial of democracy at its very basic. We're talking about denial of rights with COVID, but this is denial of nothing to do with COVID. This plan, this grandiose scheme, on top of 2040, which should be derailed and dismantled. We have very few rail lines now, but that's one train should be taken off the track and halted because it's destroying the fabric of rural Ireland. You can't build a house, and you can't build farm buildings. We can't take out the forestry, which we need to replace again to look at the carbon footprint. And we have serial objectives. So we want the whole of rural Ireland as a kind of a playground, to be admired and to be driving into to see this scenery. I don't know what they want us to be doing. Go back into hovels. We were in cavemen back in the Adrian times. It's shocking, and it's not acceptable. And I wouldn't be representing my people here if I didn't speak up about this. So we are not going to support this amendment. I know you'll vote it down, but the fact that we can't debate it next year, debate Banagher out. Nothing against Banagher awfully, but just as an old saying that we haven't tippered on. And it's the wool has been pulled over people's eyes, because countless hundreds of millions and billions of euro has been paid already by farmers, by contractors, by road hauliers, and by the ordinary motorists in carbon tax, which the last 10 years and more. And we're not getting anything back for it, no return, or very, very little. And OK, we can get announcements in the budget for Luce and DATS and God knows what, expansion of the terminal in Dublin Airport and widen the streets and bus lanes, all here in the capital. The capital doesn't own Ireland. Well, we know that, and they'll know that now, because we all feed into the capital. So there's more places than Dublin to be looked after, and like we have the rail lines in Tipperary, very few, and not being ran at proper times, and no proper joined-up thinking about public transport, and about issues like public transport, and issues about, we all want electric cars, we can't afford them, and we haven't the service points for charge points or anything else, so it's all grand and plan and theory. But on the ground, it's a different story. When the woman trying to heat her cottage or her house with a bag of coal, that we might get the fuel allowance and whatever, and the carbon tax is adding to that. And then we have coal coming across from Northern Ireland, destroying our businesses here that are fuel merchants. So there's huge inequities and unfairness inherent in this. And it's just not acceptable or palatable with rural people. And why should it be? Or urban people, and the people in the cities and towns have to pay the carbon tax on their fuel as well. And it's not fair whether it be gas or whatever else. And then we have all the utility companies fleecing the people with standing charges. Even hotels now and shops and pubs and all that closed. They're paying a fortune being accrued in utility taxes. It's shocking what's going on. So I cannot accept this, especially that we're going to have a chance to evaluate this next year, or have a vote on it next year, even talk about it. So it's a nice plan. Put it into bed. Get it there for 10 years. The lads can't even talk about it. Eat cake. Was it Mattie and today wasn't to say that. Let them eat cake. We're sick of eating cake, but we prefer the bread and butter and the rasher inside it, and tell you that plain living and ordinary living, not sweetness and pie. Good.
Thank you, Deputy.